one of football's most heartbreaking stories isn't about a wasted talent. It's about a perfect talent trapped in an empiric reality.
He's so technically gifted, it's crazy.
That is precisely the case of Thiago Alcântara, a player described as a fusion of Xavi's brain, Iniesta's grace, and Ronaldinho's imagination. A once-in-a-generation midfielder who gave football purists goosebumps, yet somehow slipped through the cracks of history.
He's very, very special, this Thiago Alcântara. Every time he goes out on the field, he seems to create a masterpiece.
Everyone who watched him closely knows the truth. Thiago wasn't just good, he was different, he was special. So how did someone this gifted never become a global superstar? This needs to be analyzed more deeply to understand what truly happened. Thiago Alcântara was never meant to be ordinary. He was born with a ball in his arm. His father, Masia, was a member of the Brazil squad that won the 1994 World Cup in the USA and later became a coach. His mother, Valeria, was a volleyball champion. Football was his destiny. Thiago was born in April 1991 in Italy, but returned to Brazil to play in the lower levels of Flamengo before moving to Spain at 5, where he played for the small Galician club Eureka in Negran. His talent stood out instantly. When Masia joined Elche, Thiago spent a year at Kelme CF, dazzling coaches with balance and footwork far beyond his age. He briefly returned to Flamengo at 10, then at 14 moved back to Spain in 2005, this time receiving the call that would shape his career, FC Barcelona's La Masia, the football factory that produced Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, and Busquets. They saw something different in Thiago. He wasn't the traditional metronome like Xavi. He wasn't as ghost-like as Iniesta. Former La Masia director Albert Benitez said, "Thiago could break the rules of our system and somehow still make it look like he was following them." By 18, Guardiola promoted him to Barcelona B. By 19, he debuted for the first team under Pep Guardiola. And soon, people wondered, was this Barcelona's next great midfield magician? The timing felt perfect. Barcelona were in their golden era. Xavi and Iniesta were rewriting football. And behind them, a teenager with impossible vision was rising quickly. Pep Guardiola adored him. Before signing the midfielder, he said, "He is the only player I want. It'll be him or no one." Thiago was the future, the natural successor, a midfielder built for the next generation of tiki-taka. Fans believed he was the one who would carry the Barca midfield after Xavi. But then, the timing betrayed him. Barcelona were too good, too stacked, too complete. Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, none of them slowed down. And Thiago, despite being brilliant, was trapped as the fourth option in the greatest midfield ever assembled. Over his time in Barcelona's first team from 2007 to 2013, he logged only 68 La Liga appearances and netted 7 times. His contract even carried a clause. If he didn't reach a certain number of minutes, his release clause would drop dramatically. And Bayern Munich saw the opportunity. Pep Guardiola left Barcelona for Bayern, and his very first request to the board was simple: Thiago or nothing.
He's fearless, and he can play in a number of different positions. He showed a lot of faith in me back then, and he's doing the same now. I really have him to thank for everything I've achieved so far.
Pep wanted a midfielder with Barcelona-style intelligence, vision, and ball control to fit his possession-based system. Those were the words that changed Thiago's life. Barcelona did not fight the move, a €25 million bargain, maybe the biggest midfield bargain at that time. At Bayern Munich, Thiago finally became himself. No longer shadowed by Xavi or Iniesta, he was unleashed to dictate, create, and orchestrate. Guardiola tasked him not with imitation, but invention. In his first season, 2013-14, Thiago played 33 Bundesliga matches, scoring 3 goals and providing 4 assists. But it wasn't about raw numbers. It was how he controlled the game. He threaded passes others wouldn't attempt, shifted the rhythm of attacks, and broke opposition presses with a single flick. And by the 2019-20 season, under Hansi Flick, Thiago reached his absolute peak. Thiago played 44 matches in all competitions, completing over 2,800 passes with a 92% accuracy rate, averaging 1.5 key passes per game and creating the most chances among Bayern midfielders. His vision, technique, and intelligence were unmatched. The 2020 Champions League final versus PSG was a masterclass. 75 passes completed, 20 into the final third, 7 ball recoveries, and numerous interceptions that crushed PSG's attacks. Analysts called it one of the finest midfield displays of modern football. Every transition, every tempo change, every defensive action had Thiago's signature. He wasn't just a midfielder, he was the heartbeat of Bayern's treble-winning team. But Thiago wanted a new challenge, a new league, a new story. And this is where the tragedy begins. The move to Liverpool. In September 2020, Thiago made one of the boldest decisions of his career, leaving Bayern Munich for Liverpool.
I was from a long time waiting for this moment, and I'm very happy to be here.
Why are Liverpool the right club for you?
I want to achieve all the goals, win all trophies as possible, and I will give my heart on the field to my teammates, to the club, and also for the fans.
Liverpool paid a reported £20 million up front, rising to £25 million with add-ons. Klopp was ecstatic. As Liverpool later recalled, he called Thiago a talent who could play in any team in the world. Thiago himself admitted he rejected other offers, including a possible return to La Liga, because he wanted to experience the Premier League's intensity and the family feel at Anfield. The move was more than a transfer. It was a declaration of intent to evolve, to grow, to write a new chapter. But Thiago's Liverpool story is a masterpiece interrupted. From the moment he arrived, his brilliance was undeniable, but so was the fragility of the body carrying it.
The next world-class player then obviously Thiago. In a parallel world, I would have loved to see the career without injuries. I'm not sure the best, but definitely one of the best I ever saw.
His injury record at Anfield became one of the most tragic in modern football, comparable to those of Neymar and Eden Hazard. In his very first season, 2020-21, Thiago missed 21 matches, 17 through a knee injury and 4 due to COVID. As the years progressed, the numbers got worse. By the end of his Liverpool career, he had missed over 100 matches in total through injury or illness. A hip problem became the main villain. He tried injections, he tried therapy. Eventually, he underwent surgery in May 2023, hoping to reset his career. But when he returned 9 months later, he lasted 5 minutes, a brief cameo in early 2024, only to suffer a new muscular injury immediately after. That was his entire final season, 1 appearance, 5 total minutes. And yet, those minutes were a reminder of what Liverpool had lost. Because when Thiago was fit, he elevated the entire team. Klopp said it himself.
He can do things before that I didn't think it's possible.
He played 98 matches, scored 3 goals, but numbers never told his story. The story was in the details. The Porto volley, the masterclass versus Manchester United, the orchestration versus Villarreal, games where he turned Liverpool's midfield into pure jazz. But it was never enough, because he was never there enough. Thiago's genius never translated into global superstardom, and there are several interlocking reasons why. First, timing. By the time he left Bayern, he was already in his late 20s, a world-class midfielder, but not in his breakthrough years. Unlike Hazard, who already made a legacy as a Chelsea and Premier League legend before going to Madrid, Thiago was still in the pipeline, and the Bundesliga was not as famous as the Premier League and La Liga. Second, injury. That fragile frame that allowed him to glide past defenders also betrayed him. Liverpool invested in his creativity, but his availability was always uncertain. Thiago's legacy isn't measured by trophies or fame, but by moments. Flashes of genius that reminded us football is art. Yet his story carries a quiet sadness. One of the greatest talents of his generation was defined not by the career he had, but the one he should have had. Injuries stole Euro 2012, World Cup 2014, Euro 2016, and limited him in 2018 and 2020. The world rarely saw him fully fit, fully free. A mind 5 steps ahead, trapped in a fragile body. Not a global superstar, but for true football lovers, an unforgettable, unfinished masterpiece.